Hello. This week, I want to talk to you about instruction and strategies in your classroom. So, for this week, I want to show you a lesson plan, and I have hyperlinked a lesson plan example, one of mine, into the syllabus if you want to find it there. And this lesson plan is just one I picked at random. It's from the Foundational Introductory Family and Consumer Science course, and it aligns with the what I call Unit 7 resource management. And that's where students would learn about budgeting and money and consumerism and basics like that, since this is the foundational course. Um, and this is the lesson plan my school that I teach at uses right now. And it's blocked off by this is one whole week, Monday through Friday. So you'll see right here's my bell work. This is my bell ringer question that I ask them. And I usually have that up on the board. So I have a bell ringer question every day. Then you put your objective here. There's no objective here because this first day we're just going to I have them take, when we start a new unit, a pre-test. And a pre-test just gathers information they already know, and they take that and then they get their results immediately because I use Google Forms so they can see what they do or do not already know about the topic. And then we cover vocabulary, and this is what the students are doing in this column. This column is what the teacher is doing, and I'm administering the pretest and reviewing vocabulary with my students. And assignment and homework, the assignment was the pretest, and then homework, it says home cooking assignment, but that shouldn't be there. That's old. Usually I don't give homework. Homework is unfinished classwork. So, and that's mainly students with IEPs that have extra time allotted on assignments or activities or projects that take stuff home to finish it and turn it in the next day. In-class activities, and I'm going to show you an activity that aligns with this same unit I just showed you. This is a worksheet that, and what we would do is, since we're talking about finances, I would let them play Life or Monopoly in class. But then I also want them to understand why we're playing Monopoly or Life. Why are we playing board games in class? And it has to do with managing money. So that's why I have this type of, I'm sorry, I keep getting all these students turning in stuff. And that's why we fill out these reflection questions or worksheet. So in-class activities, that's not you lecturing, that's not watching a video. That is something that the students are doing so that they are getting an understanding of whatever objective you covered for that day. So if I talk to students about the importance of hand washing and sanitizing before touching food, then my activity could be them practicing the hand washing steps, or even making a flip grid of pictures of them doing the proper hand washing steps. PowerPoints, depending on your teaching style or technique or how you like to present information to learners, is up to you. I have a PowerPoint that helps me every day. I have one PowerPoint for every unit, and this is my Unit 7 PowerPoint, and I'm still going over the same Unit 7 we've been talking about. There's my bell ringer, and I put information or directions up there for them. There's all my vocab I'm going to go over with them, and then that's the end of the day. because that's how I know where to stop is whenever I get to the next bell ringer, I know, okay, that's for tomorrow. So the next day we're going over, there's a bell ringer. They know to get their notes out while I'm taking roll. And then we're going to go over these standards, this information, content. And then when we're done reviewing it, they have an activity or an assignment. And here they're going to write 3 short-term goals and 3 long-term goals using a diagram that I'm providing them. And it goes like this throughout my units. And a lot of teachers like to use this because it's a visual aid. It's there for them to see, even though you're telling them the information, they also need to see it because they might not be an auditory learner, they might be a visual learner too. But also we have our kinesthetic learners, which is why I have them take notes over my PowerPoint so that they're getting it all 3 ways: visually, orally, and then kinesthetically. Projects is a big assignment or activity you would have them do, and it's going to span over multiple days. I usually have one big project for every unit we do. The big project for my resource management unit I use is a I call it a checking simulation. What I did was I made a calendar I print out for them, and it's telling them they have a fake bank account, I tell them, and this tells them all the different transactions they made, where it was to, how much it was for, the day it was on, what form of payment they used, debit card, check, and they have to go through this and fill out a check registry booklet and total up how much money they spent. And I do it for 3 months and see how much money they spent over 3 months, paying bills, buying food. And I came up with these. I thought that these were typical expenses a high schooler might make, like that spring tickets. They went shopping at JCPenney's, eating out, ATM, and they are also getting a direct deposit check. And I put Super One Foods, that's a grocery store we have here. That's where they work and where they're getting their income from. And sometimes I have other income on here too, random stuff like a birthday check. Also, you notice that they paid with check on some of these things. So I also print out these blank checks I scanned, and they have to fill out checks as well as their checkbook registry. And also the other thing they do with this project, this takes about a week for us to do it, is they're going to do deposit slips too, because that's important for them to know how to fill out a deposit slip. And I don't have them on here. I have a hard copy. I got some deposit slips from our bank, and I put them on the scanner and scanned them and ran off copies. So it's a real deposit slip that they're learning how to fill out, so they know how to deposit cash and checks into their bank accounts. And that is just an example of a project I would have them do, because I feel like it covers most of the concepts in that unit, and really the more important things that they're going to need to know how to do on their own once they're an adult. Student certifications are extremely important right now. Other subjects, math, English, AP classes have exams students take at the end of the year that are done by the state. AP exams are done, College Board, ACT Aspire, ACT, those are used to gauge how much information students have learned in their core subjects class, and that can be used to help the teacher know how if they're doing a good job teaching, are students learning, are they retaining this information. But what about our area? What about facts? So that's why we have this is rather new over the past few years, and gradually growing as more people understand what we're doing, is we're doing student certifications in our classes. Well, how do you know what student certifications you're going to use in what class? They're found in the frameworks and occupational guide, and I believe I pointed that out in the previous week. So I'm going to go back to um, our frameworks. And it just depends on what courses you're teaching at your school district as to what certification you will offer your students. And there are suggestions in the frameworks for you to offer your students. I'm going to go to food safety because that's what I teach. So right here in this beginning sheet, industry certifications you can give in this course are the Serve Safe Food Handler and Serve Safe Food Manager. And I give these to my students. It is a certification that it's a test they take, and it covers a lot of the material that I'm teaching them in class. And by them passing and getting this certificate at the end, lets me know if what I'm doing is wrong, if I need to change what I'm doing or how I'm teaching. So Serve Safe Food Handler and Manager, I actually have these certifications too. Before I began giving it to students or was able to or teach any of the material, I had to go to professional development, which we talked about, to learn and earn my own certificates. These are good for students to have because if they're already working in food industry or planning to one day, these certifications help them gain an advantage in the job market over people who do not have them. Specifically, Serve Safe Food Manager lets the company know that this person is manager material. They know everything they need to know to run that establishment to be the manager. Serve Safe Food Handler is similar. It's an easier version of manager. Not everyone passes manager. Not every teacher at the workshop passed it. Not every student I have given it has passed it, or even college student, because I've given this to students at the college level too. Serve Safe Food Handler, I think every single student but one has passed this because it's so easy, especially if you're putting this content at them every day. They actually got 3 tries on it too, which helps. And it's just an employee certification that anybody should probably have, and I would think everyone would want to have, letting them know that they are trained in proper hygiene and sanitation for the workplace and food when working with food or handling food. For any employee should have that, and that will help them. Some places give them raises or pay bumps whenever they have these certifications. And I'm going to go back. There are lots of other ones. I don't teach this one, but I know about it. The certification is WISE, or financial literacy. I know this is if a student goes to work for a bank or in a bank, having this certification would be very helpful for them. Lifespan development. Their suggested certifications are CPR and first aid, which if you're working with children makes sense that you would want your daycare worker or nanny or a preschool teacher to know CPR and first aid. I've been to CPR and first aid training just as a teacher. Let me show you another one that I actually offer. I teach this course, Foundations of Teaching, and my students take the Parapro assessment, which is, you might think of them as a teacher's aide. They're there in different classrooms for different reasons. Special ed rooms may need them to assist with a student in a wheelchair. Kindergarten classes may need them because just an extra person is needed in a classroom of 35-year-olds. The teachers up there teaching and the parapros there to assist with any behavior problems they may have with students, or just to make sure all 30 kindergartners are there and present and not moving around or running off. Okay. So that's why we offer student certifications. It helps students and it helps programs show their worth to everyone. Let's see, the next thing, textbooks. I don't use textbooks that much for high school students because, believe it or not, we have students that can't read or are dyslexic, so I don't assign a lot of textbook readings if I can help it. But you do have to have textbooks in your classroom whenever you usually have them there already in place. But you just want to, if you are selecting or changing them, just make sure they kind of match up to your standards for that class, or even the certifications. So I actually have books that are ServSafe textbooks that I may use with my students. Homework, that's really a personal choice on if you want to assign homework, if you want to grade homework, and how you want that to be done. This week's assignment, you're going to teach a lesson to the class of your choosing. So select one of these classes and teach a lesson and record yourself and send it to me so I can watch it. And if we have enough students in the class, we'll be doing a peer review and critique over each other's lessons. If you've done a lesson for another course, do not replicate or reuse this one because you'll be a teacher one day. You need to practice, 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 and actually have stuff stockpiled so that you can start. So where are you going to get this information for your lesson? Use your unit plan. So you don't have to, but I think it would be a lot easier on you if you go back to your unit plan you made earlier in the semester. So use your unit plan and teach a lesson from it. I put the lesson plan template right here. It is not the same as the one I just showed you from my school. This is not going to cover a week. This is just one day. So your lesson for one day, fill this template out. I will be providing you with a rubric, of course. Usually for a lesson, you want to teach your content over whichever standard you want, and then have some kind of activity or assessment at the end of that. Let me real quickly go over one with you. How I would, just a typical day for me. I'm going to go to one of my unit plans. So you would have your bell ringer. You would go over with them, and on your lesson plan template, I can get these. You would put it right here, bell ringer. How long are you going to give them time for your bell ringer? Probably about 5 minutes. And then go over your bell ringer with your class. Find out what their answers were to the question. Give them if it was for right or wrong, tell them the right answer. After that, we would go over PowerPoint. So whatever this number standard is, I plan to have the PowerPoint for that up, and I would lecture over that, and students would take some notes over that. And I'm just doing 2 standards because we're not going to overwhelm them. So keep it to 2 or 3 standards. After that, draw pig. That's an activity I do with them, to just to talk about different personality types. So if you're going to do something like draw pig, you would teach it to me in your lesson, and then personality quiz. That's another activity I do with them to make sure I'm teaching the whole 50 minutes of class and not only spending 10 minutes with them and then having an idle 40 minutes of them just sitting in the desk. That's probably one of the worst things that could happen, is teaching all your content in 10 minutes and having your activity done, and then having a guest or administrator walk in to see what you're doing with your class and actually not have planned enough. So my advice for beginning teachers is plan more than what you really need for until you figure out how long it actually takes students to complete each task. And for YouTube, because sometimes I learned I talk really fast sometimes, so we speed through content a lot. That is all for this week. If you have any questions, make sure to email me or talk to me through Remind. Thanks.